We're here at Gigi's restaurant here at Heritage Park Hotel, and we'd like to thank the management for allowing us to be here. It is a live shoot, and there's currently patrons here in the restaurant at the moment. We're pleased to be joined by the current Miss Solomons, Elsie Polosovai. How you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Elsie. My middle name is Kamalin Salumapa Polosovai. I come from Choiseul Province and Malaita Province. And I'm 23 years old. I graduated university with a Bachelor of Sciences majoring in Human Nutrition. And I'm the current Miss Solomon Islands for 2024-2025.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was only recent, wasn't it, the graduation?
Yes, my graduation was recent.
Last month, was it, or was it?
December, yeah.
December?
Yeah.
Wow, so fresh grad.
Fresh grad.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely. And what made you want to come in and, join the pageant?
I really wanted to come experience work and just the lifestyle in Solo. So I was planning to come back on holiday last year, July, for my winter break.
Right.
And then I found out about the pageant. So I thought, okay, what a great opportunity to come home and learn more about my people, my culture, and just the work field in the Solomons, because I do plan on coming back. Initially, before the pageant, I planned on coming back and working here for a little bit. And it just happens that Miss Solomon Island came up, and now I'm living the dream. Living the dream, yeah.
When was the last time you were back home?
2014. That's when I moved out. So didn't come back for 10 years.
Wow, I hear you're quite fluent in Maori too, or?
I have the opportunity to learn
a
te
bit?
reo in
Yeah.
high school and in uni as well. So.
Right. You mind if we do a bit of an exchange here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Ko wai tau ingoa?
Ko Elsie Kamalin Salomata tōku ingoa.
No hea koe?
No Solomon Islands aho.
Kei te pai.
Kei te pai, yeah.
Awesome. So, being in New
Wait,
Zealand.
hold up. What does that mean?
That's, what was that? Go on, Elsie, what does
So
that mean?
he asked me, what was your name?
Okay.
And he said, where are you from?
Right.
No hea koe.
Yeah.
I could say, if I was in New Zealand, I could say,
Yeah.
I'm from like a city, like
Yeah.
Tamaki Makaurau, or
Yeah.
that's Auckland, or
Yeah.
Otepoti, Dunedin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since we're here on homeland, I'll say
Yeah.
Solomon Islands.
Oh, that's amazing. How long did it take for you to pick that up?
I think a few years, but I've been surrounded by it. My friends were all of Maori descent. I'm sort of immersed in it, so quite privileged.
Did you have to go and do the mihis on the marae and all that type of stuff? But,
Yes, I did have the opportunity to do that in high school quite a lot.
Yeah.
So good experience and really pushed me out of my comfort zone, but I'm kind of glad I had that and have another language in the back of my pocket
Yeah.
to just whip out anytime.
Yeah. The old
That's amazing.
Polynesian side as well as your
Yeah.
Melanesian side.
Yes, definitely.
So what was like the initial reaction when you were crowned Miss Solomons?
A lot of excitement, very, very liberating. It's an experience that you don't plan on sort of experiencing. It just happens, and it was very, very new for me, but also quite exciting because I felt like, okay, this is now my moment to show what I have to bring to the table.
Now that it's your moment, what are you trying to utilize this moment for? Do you have a vision for yourself, or are you trying to just go with the flow?
A little bit of everything. It's really good to just come in and not expect things, but let it happen. I think one of the things that I wanted to remember coming into the platform is that it's not a mold that I have to fit, but I'll sort of make it what it is. Yeah. Like there's previous Miss Solos that I've really looked up to and I've witnessed come through the platform. But my thing is it's not going to be one way. How she was Miss Solo that year is how she is Miss Solo. I'm bringing in something new, a new perspective. So I guess my game plan is to just leave a legacy of inspiration for our youth, for women and girls, young girls especially.
Nice. Let's kind of like take it back to your beginning and whatnot. Did you Where were you born? Were you born here?
I was born in Western Province.
Okay.
So actually born in Vela.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
Cheapers.
we were on our way to Gizo. My parents were living in Choiseul at the time. They were on their way to Gizo for my mom to give birth to me, but there was a storm and then we stopped by Vela. I was born in Vela.
Wow.
And then we stayed in Choiseul for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then moved to Honiara.
Yeah.
Attended school, primary school here. And then lived a little bit in Fiji. Came back to Solo and then to New Zealand.
Do you have much memories of your time in the West, Western Province or in Honiara?
Yes, in Choiseul.
Yeah.
I remember going to kindergarten there when my mom was teaching at Choiseul Bay High School.
Choiseul Bay High School.
Yeah.
Right.
So we were living in Choiseul, Nukiki for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then came to Honiara. Yeah, I do have quite fond memories
Yeah.
of my early days here. And that's the memories that I left with before I came back. So such a big gap.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it'd be interesting to see how you go and rediscover those, I suppose, your early footsteps when you
That
were,
would
when
be
you were
nice,
younger.
yeah.
So you converse naturally in the language? Is it the language at
Yes,
home that you
I do,
speak with
yeah.
your mum and dad?
I grew up speaking Babatana, which is one of the Choiseul languages. There's quite a few Choiseul languages, but the main one is Babatana. I grew up in Honiara with my mum's mum, who was very strong on speak your language. Around her, we weren't allowed to speak Pidgin. She's like, you people aware, like, where are you guys from?
Yeah, yeah.
So, at the time I was like, I didn't really get it. Like, why do we have to speak in Babatana? But then looking back now, I'm like, I'm so glad that she raised us that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Instill those values.
I was speaking to someone the other day and they reckon there's a number of languages on the verge of, I suppose, dying out. Was Babatana one of them, or was that?
Babatana is...
That's the main name.
More people speak Babatana than the other Choiseul languages.
Right.
But there are a few that are quite old and they've sort of withered away, but the main one, Babatana, is still widely spoken, although it's changed. Like the Babatana that my grandparents spoke is very different to what we speak now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lauru Kuvojo.
Kuvonjo, yes.
Kuvonjo. I read up about that on the net.
Yeah.
And then I realized that was something that you wore during the crowning night. Was that
Yes.
representative of that? Or
Yes. That's a really nice symbol, like a good symbol of Choiseul province, because that the pigeon, it's a Kuvonjo is the pigeon bird, only existed in Choiseul. And it was a land bird that only gave birth to one egg. So the domestication of cats and stuff that the Europeans brought in killed it away. Now it's extinct.
Yeah, but it's quite an amazing, because it's on the Choiseul flag. Huh?
Yes, it is.
You'll see the pigeon on the flag.
So you have that strong cultural upbringing.
Yeah.
Do you kind of establish that in your daily life in New Zealand too? Like, how do you incorporate that your identity over there when you're overseas?
I immerse myself in language mostly. Like my parents, when I get to speak in Babatana to them, I will. And especially when they're like giving me a talk, like one of those lectures, they always go off and start speaking in Babatana, which I understand helps them articulate their ideas better to me. So I sort of would speak it as often as I could. Listen to Babatana songs, talk to family back home when I can.
Right.
But yeah, it's an effort. It's a conscious effort that you kind of have to want to learn or like maintain it to be able to do it. Like doesn't just happen, just doesn't get thrown.
That's very true.
Very conscious.
New Zealand is a very multicultural Polynesian type of culture as well. Viv, you were there as well for a fair stint.
Yeah.
And is the Solomon culture, is it kind of like well known or in New Zealand?
Definitely has changed over the past years. I remember when I moved there, not many of the students in my area knew where Solomon was, like the closest
Thought you were
they know
African
is,
or something.
Yeah, Somalia is what I always get.
Yeah, 100%.
Solomon Islands, Somalia, no, not the same. But I kind of just say, oh, it's in Fiji, it's northeast of Australia. And they kind of just, oh yeah, but not very well known. But now it's really changed over the years.
There's some links you were saying, or I've read up, that your father is from Malaita, is what you said at the start?
He's from West Kwaio,
West Kwaio.
in Bina.
Bina.
So that's where my grandfather's from.
Right.
Dad is half Malaita
Yeah.
and Choizo. Haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
I'm planning to sometime.
Right.
And what aspect of Samoa's culture do you feel like the most connected to? Seeing your, part Choiso, part Koyo, etc.
I think I'm inevitably connected to Choizo because I have the privilege of growing up in Choizo-dominated communities. I do try to connect with my Malaita side, and I have aunties and distant relatives that are really welcoming when they see us, when they know about us. But I'm definitely more connected to my Choizo side of my identity. Yeah.
I don't think there's too many that are in the field that you're studying. What was it? Human science?
Human nutrition.
Human nutrition, sorry. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
I was very interested in science in high school. I basically did really well in chemistry when I was in high school. So I went to uni. I enrolled in a chemistry degree. And then first year didn't really go to what I was planning because I really wanted to be working with people, doing practical. Chemistry was very practical, but also heavy, theory-based, and a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. And I really wanted to connect with people. I think I naturally had the urge to connect, to want to work with people. That's how I feel like I'm making an impact. So over the summer in 2021, I did this Pacific student internship where you had the opportunity to do a research program on any sort of topic that you want to do. And I figured doing something about biochemicals and taro plants, or just local staple foods.
That's
and that's when I came across nutrition and the broad, or sort of the wider field that nutrition entails. So after that year, I made the switch to doing nutrition, and I discovered that there's more people-based practical work. I get to talk to people and learn about people, but it's still very sciencey.
Right.
Yeah, that's sort of what prompted my interest. I just felt like I identified with it and I could relate.
That's interesting. So human nutrition, that's heavy on my heart too. My dad, he got sick recently as well. And a lot of my uncles as well. It's that same type of decline through diet, that type of lifestyle choices and so forth. Was that one of your decisions to get into human nutrition?
Yeah, definitely. Food is such a big part of our culture as Solomon Islanders and as Melanesians. So naturally, that's something that everyone is related. Everyone can relate to. You have to eat to live. But I can understand the side of education around food. And yes, there is a lot of bad food out there, but there's also a lot of good food that we have. Growing up, my grandma actually had type 2 diabetes, and she had an amputated limb, amputated foot. And food was always a scary conversation to have in the family. No, don't eat too much sugar. You're going to end up like grandma. Yeah. Don't eat this, don't eat that. It's always what not to eat. And it's really, I think it's really sparked a lot of negative behaviors towards food. And so it made it hard to learn, educate ourselves with what's good and what's bad because of the environment.
It's not an education, it's more like a fear-mongering.
Yeah.
So then they don't understand the alternative and how to,
Yeah.
What were you saying earlier about Denzel?
Yeah, Denzel Sumsum. Yeah, the chap we had the other day. And his ventures into experimenting with local food.
Yeah.
Everything that's sort of grown locally. It'd be interesting if you actually have a catch up with him and,
That would be good,
see
yeah.
what he's doing on that side.
Very interesting because food, there's one thing to cook food, there's
Yeah.
one thing to know what's
Right.
in the food.
Right.
And salute to chefs, they have to grapple both, like know what you're putting up and
Yeah.
also know how to cook it and stuff. It goes hand in hand with a lot of behavioral psychology stuff as well. Choices you make
Very
in
true.
food, when you choose to have something and why.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't feed off
Yeah.
a certain amount of certain food. Yes.
That's it. Live to eat. I mean, that's our current.
Yeah.
Instead of eat to live.
We live
You
to
know,
eat. Yeah,
yes.
that's so true.
I want to switch it up a little.
Okay.
And let's come back to you as a woman in Solomons. What your role models that your moms, your aunties and stuff, and what have they kind of instilled in you? Because women in the global sphere, it's such a hot topic right now as well, and culturally, we have a different point of view to offer in the island. So, what's kind of your take on that, and how do you see yourself position yourself?
I do have a lot of valuable and good women role models growing up. My mom, my grandma, both of my grandmas, and there's only one of them living at the moment. But I think I've really been, and the value that's really been instilled in me would have to be, it's quite a lot. One of the main ones I'll say is ownership and knowing who you are and what your worth is. And that's something that I remember my grandma would talk to me before we left to New Zealand. She would tell me that, you need to know that you have what it takes. Everything you need is in you. And just sort of instilling that confidence in me and that belief that you can be something bigger than yourself.
Right.
I think that's really my what I take from my women leaders. And it's quite empowering to see how our women, your close family, how what they've accomplished and what they've achieved, and that alone is quite encouraging. So,
Because culturally, we're from the islands,
Yeah.
but when we're in New Zealand as well, and in Australia, then you've got different, cultural awareness as well, and their point of views as well. And so, how have you walked that tightrope and balanced yourself, and because over there, independent women, whereas for us, it's more of a community and so forth. And,
I'll definitely say. The role, traditional gendered roles, what women are expected to do here and culturally in Solomons, does differ, or it's a little bit loosely held when you're overseas, because you're in empowered communities and there's women that have really strong ideas of what you can choose not to do, women traditional gender-based things. And to be among that, but also having the weight of your culture. But this is how it's not just a role that is a chore, or it's not. I start to see it for example, I narrow it down to so I'm doing a chore.
Yeah.
It's more than I have to do this thing. It's more that I get to do this thing, and this is a practice that
So true.
I learned from my foremothers and my forefathers. So it's a privilege to be able to still do it,
Right.
rather than. I have to do this thing and they expect me to do this thing. But I get to do it. I get to wash the dishes. I get to clean the house.
So true.
I get to look after my baby siblings. And it's the skills that I learned is passed on from my grandmothers, from my mothers. So it's quite a privilege. Yeah.
Right. It's love through service, it's like how we're treating each other. So
Yeah, that's definitely it.
yeah.
Such a big part of culture to serve.
Right.
Yeah.
You touched on your siblings.
Yeah.
We just diverged for a moment. So how many siblings do you actually have, Elsie?
I have 3 younger siblings.
Okay.
So
How old are they?
my brother is 19.
Right.
And then my 2 youngest siblings, 6 and 5.
Right. It's 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
Big gap. My little sister's 5. I thought I was the only girl for a while, and then
Yeah.
she was born 5 years ago. So now I have a little sister and 2 brothers.
Yeah, awesome. And then you touched on your high school years in New Zealand. So you went to, which high school did you go to, Elsie?
I went to Tangaroa College in South Auckland.
In South Auckland.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, how would you say? Being an island girl, and then moving over to New Zealand. I had a bit of that experience, but I'd like to hear what you felt and what you experienced.
So initially moving into New Zealand, I thought, I'll be surrounded by a lot of Europeans, but the area that we moved into was my majority of them were Maori and Polynesia. So I was around a lot of Polynesians and a lot of Maori people, but I still felt out of place. Even if we're all Pacific people, it was still quite isolating, and I felt alienated a lot of times. And high school was quite a big experience for me, and I think a lot of the core memories I have of growth and learning and realizations came from my high school experience. So my school was a small school in South Auckland, about 800 pupils, year 9 to 13. Very small, but also the majority were Maori and Polynesian. I was the only Melanesian, only Solomon Islander student from year 9 until year 13 when 2 Fijian girls came. Yeah. But yeah, I was just used to being a minority,
Right.
really, and it's really forced me to grow and challenge myself.
We watched some short films that you did. Was that during your time at Tangaroa College?
That was actually after.
After, was it?
Yeah,
All right.
after I graduated from high school.
After you graduated from high school, right?
So you got. How did you stumble into acting?
I came across acting from high school. There were drama subjects offered in high school.
Okay.
Then I also came across this theatre company based in Auckland from one of their alumni of this company came to my school. So my drama teacher would tell us about this person that's like, he's done Hollywood films. He's like already made it out the hood, basically. So he was like that role model for us. We're like, Beulah's his name. Beulah did that. Beulah's like doing all these cool acting things. And he was from the school, and he started with this theatre company. So then I sort of like, I'm curious. I want to see what's theatre.
And did you have any like previous experience with that before, like, with your drama? That kind of like spark? Did you really enjoy it? Yeah,
in high school, just like drama class, but also way back, like circling back in Sunday school here in Honiara, where we'd do like little skits, Bible skits.
Yeah.
That was my very first experience in acting when I played this girl called Jenny. My first character.
Wait, Bible skits, and you played a character called Jenny?
Yes.
Okay.
It had a Bible theme to it.
Okay.
But Jenny was a troubled child, and she always had to pick between, choosing God's path or the world. So that was my first character. And then I didn't know that acting was a thing until I moved over to New Zealand, and the opportunity presented itself as, you could build on this skill, you can go into this field. So, quite privileged to be able to have that. Yeah,
because Viv showed me one of your videos, in your class thing, and what was that like? Because that looked pretty intense.
Yeah, that was a film I filmed after high school, and it was written by a writer who was half Solomons and New Zealand.
Oh.
So she was part of this group of writers where they did short stories from different Pacific islands, and was lucky enough that Solomon was one of them because she's from the Solomons. So she was able to write up a whole screenplay, which I fitted into the as a character. Okay. So I went for the audition and then kicked off. But the themes of the play were very close to me, so I didn't feel like I was playing a character. I felt quite, close to the person I was playing, Vani. Yeah.
Nice one. And is that something you want to like carry on in the future as well, acting?
Yeah, definitely. I still do carry on since filming that in 2020.
Yeah.
When I moved down to Dunedin, I've been doing acting with this simulated patient acting, that's what it's called. And it's we present like realistic scenarios. So we're trained to be a patient. So they give you like a scenario and you're like, one day you go in with a broken ankle and the next day you have like really bad diarrhea, something like that. Like it's
We don't have to act about that here. So
it's medical scenarios. It's
right.
medical scenarios, and it really trained you to harness like characters and be in real life situations, which is what I like about acting. That it's all real. It's not. Nothing's acting.
Oh, okay.
Nothing's acting. Everything is real.
Because you have to channel, that character, and you got to be that.
Yeah. And that's not just a character, that's a lived experience.
Let's bring that into this character that you're playing, Miss Solomon.
A character. It's real.
This real character
Like
that you're
I
playing,
said.
this real life character. You're here now. How many weeks out is the competition?
3 weeks away.
Okay.
Yeah. So from the end to the end of this month, the girls start arriving to the country, and then we have competition week from the 1st of February to the 8th.
Yeah.
8th is crowning night. So yeah, we've got about 3 weeks and about a whole year to play this character.
A whole year to play
A whole
this
year.
character.
Yeah,
Well, you got to be home, so it's your home ground and stuff. So there's definitely high hopes for you. And how do you feel about taking that role? Like, is that something, carrying Solomon's on your shoulder? Is that something that you really embrace and you want to really put your mark on it?
yeah, I do. I feel quite empowered to give my all, especially being here on home soil. It's like no excuses. You just, got to give it my best.
Yeah.
It does. The pressure is there because you're carrying the weight of your country, but you're here in your country. So sort of have everyone's eyes on you and everyone's expectations. But I take it on with a lot of pride and a lot of honor.
Yeah.
It's such a privilege to be able to hold a title that is a whole nation's name. So
Yes.
more than a character to me, it's definitely a privilege also. Yeah, big responsibility.
Funnily enough, we caught up with one of your old teachers during the week. We reached out to him, we got some feedback from him about who Elsie is, and she did mention that one of your unique attributes was the fact that you're extremely proud to be a Solomon Islander. So David Birdie? Riley, sorry, not Birdie, but that's a music producer. Isn't it?
You'll be happy.
Yeah, and then the fact that you were back then brave and a risk taker. So I think there's some correlation to what you're actually doing now.
That's true.
I mean, being a young island girl, having to make your mark in New Zealand, is not an easy thing, huh? And hopefully it's put you in good stead for what's ahead of us in the next couple of days.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it helps being a minority somewhere. You're a minority within a minority, because the Pacific community is quite small compared to wider Aotearoa. But yeah, it definitely has set me up for a lot of good challenges, and I always feel that I can do something if I want it enough.
I have a question for you. While you were out there, Solomon music, how big is it in New Zealand?
It's quite big, yeah.
It is?
Interesting. It's everyone speaks music.
Right.
And that's the first thing that I'd tell people if they don't know where Solomon is.
Yeah.
Like, do you know this song?
Yeah.
Do you know this artist?
So
And
it's
then,
quite widely circulated, is it? It's quite widely circulated on the...
What are some of the artists and songs that is kind of popular there?
Design, genre, definitely DMP. I love DMP, One Talks.
Yeah.
Jara Local, just recent. So all our mainstream artists, they're quite big overseas.
Wow.
And they started doing like Pacific music festivals.
Yeah.
And then our artists got to go over, and that was like a really big moment.
for like the future generation and stuff. Are you thinking about the young women here and like seeing, you know, what Viv was saying, you know, your fierce type of leader qualities? What do you have in mind with them as you're embarking on this journey?
I really just want to empower young girls and really plant the seed in them that you can be something bigger than yourself. That's one thing I always take with me, and I understand that the education opportunities vary from different communities that we grow up in, and it's not the same as how I had it better than a lot of our women here. But one thing I really want our little girls to know is that if you don't get to have, you know, quality education, you always have your culture to fall back on, because both have really strong values, have really strong character building, like good character traits that you can learn from. The same as like to having higher education, then like learn from your elders, learn about your cusp, learn about how your grandmothers and your mothers and what their qualities were. It all comes under the same, like same, two different things, but it's still good guidance, like
Character
the guidance,
building.
character building, and the guidance is really important. Like women do need that guide, women, young women especially. But if education is not something that you're privileged to have, then fall back on your custom, fall back on your culture, the traditional values that your mothers and grandmothers.
Right. Is that something you're going to be like going into the community, and are you involved in any local community things while you're here as well?
Yeah, so I had the privilege of visiting a lot of community-based organizations for women, but I am really planning on launching my own. I was talking to Joyce from the pageant director about running like a program for girls that I want to go into schools and just really empower them with public speaking skills, having confidence to, what's the word for it? Make up, you know when you're like put on the spot and you feel like impromptu speaking, like these little things that would really go the long way, would help them in like in a lot of different aspects.
Public speaking and
public
so forth.
speaking, yes, because I find that our girls are quite reserved, held back a little bit more than someone that has the opportunity to be speaking all the time in public. So I really want to make this program about our little girls. The age range I want to focus on is 8 to 12, around that age. And I'm planning on doing that for schools and tie it in with a lot of women's health advocacy, just everything girls talk related. That's the big idea for my reign, and I'm really hoping to execute it sometime soon.
So I've got three daughters. Two below the age of 20, one above. But I know they adore you, and you know, and what you do, and following quite closely. So what you're saying sort of resonates with me too as a father. I think our girls really need that direction. So there's if you look around you, what's happening in society at the moment, there's a lot of examples of I suppose things slipping the other way,
especially with social media and
all that. So what you're saying is, I think, very important for the fabric of our society at the moment, Solomon.
So you embrace that role as a role model, and who do you have currently as your role models and stuff? You know?
That's a good question.
It's a really good question. I remember having this conversation with my flatmate where we really struggled to answer that. We really struggled to answer when people ask you who your role model is. It's not that you don't feel like you need to put, the credit to someone, but I feel like everyone comes in. You have guidance, you have influences. But as for role model, I really can't think of a strong role model.
One individual.
Individual. It's so hard to put it on one individual. It's a collective of communities. I'll say a role model is like women of Lauru, women of Solomon Islands. It's a whole collective of people that are role models, because you don't just take one and like point one trait and after it. It's a collective value. It's
Yes. What kind of the qualities do you look for in those role models or the collective community?
I look for qualities that are strong, resilient, and qualities that are sort of unshaken. Qualities that have surpassed challenges, hardships, and one of them is authenticity. Like you can experience all this, you can have all these influences, but if you know your values and you're true to yourself, it goes the long way. And trying to adapt, like you can adapt so much, but I feel like authenticity does go a longer way than.
Totally agree with that. It's like I'm based in Malaysia as well, and for a long time, like the three of us were privileged to have education overseas and get to experience that, and from that perspective, we understand the value of where we come from and whatnot, and being authentic to yourself. It definitely plays a huge role in going out and being more empowered and stronger out in that place. Do you have any specific things you're trying to achieve with this current mission that you're on with Miss Solomons for the country?
Yes. First of all would be winning the title.
Yes.
We haven't won the title yet, so to be very specific.
Oh, haven't yet at all?
Solomon's
we
never.
haven't.
Okay.
So that's the first
Number one?
goal, a very tangible goal that I can say it's specifically
100%.
want to. Let's
do it.
I think it's
that.
everyone's, every previous Miss Solomon Islands goal is the title. That's essentially why you run in the regional pageant. So first and foremost, yes, winning the title. But aside from that, it's just making a name for your people and just being someone that people can be proud of, and you can be proud of yourself. That's something I want to achieve. It's definitely on the goals list. To win Miss Pacific Islands. So I'll do my best.
What do you like to do on your free time? What do you do for fun?
Do I do for fun?
Yeah. To take the edge off from all the competition stuff or whatnot, or just for downtime.
I have a fitness group that I join in the mornings here at HP Gym. A group of women that come together early in the morning, and we just come and do some fitness together with our trainer. For Moana, he's a national renowned trainer, so really glad to have that. Aside from that, things that are not like routine related, I do enjoy art. I like to listen to music. Music is such a big part of myself. Like I always tell people around me, I'm sorry, I'm going to be playing music because I can't do anything without music. I do enjoy writing, and I did a lot of some painting and stuff before as well. But that's sort of my wind down and
What nalo playlist ya?
playlist.
What nalo playlist for Laos ya?
A mixture of everything and anything, really. Like I had my Spotify Wrapped last year, and my top played song was an Afrobeat song, but my top artist was Taylor Swift. So that sort of gives you the range of what I listen to and what I enjoy. That's in the playlist.
What's something that you want to share? Like, let's talk about something personal about you that most people don't know about you. Are you an outgoing person? More of an introvert?
I think people would describe me as an outgoing person, but that's probably because of a lot of the roles, like leadership roles that I've held, really set me as an outgoing person. In high school, I was head girl, and then I had a lot of like leadership roles in uni, so I'd say outgoing. But I also do enjoy my own time and having my own space. I really value like having time out from something. Like it doesn't matter how stressful or like how close something is. It's important to just have some time out and calm my mind.
Do you have like a daily routine?
Daily routine, I wouldn't say, because it's not really a routine. It's different every time. But I do have a routine before I go on stage, or I do something like that takes like a lot of public,
Sure.
a lot of my attention.
Okay.
So one of my sort of rituals is I don't speak to anyone for at least an hour or 40 minutes if I can before I go on stage.
Okay.
That's a practice that I've picked up from doing theatre, live theatre,
Okay.
where it really requires, because it's just a one-take thing, like memorize your lines and you go do a 1 hour show. So I like to really have that time out before I go on stage. I don't talk to anyone for 1 hour. I don't want to hear any advice, any more tips before I go in. All I have now is myself and just to come, have a clear mind and just run with what I have and just trust that it's going to come out. The right thing will fall into place. Yeah. That's
So you do like a 45 minutes of just zoning in with yourself and clearing your head.
Yes, definitely. Play some music, something calm. Not words.
Okay.
That's a tip, not words, just maybe ambience, something that really calms down my mind. Yeah, because it's all in the mind. Take care of the mind first.
Nice one.
Yeah.
We've been talking about a lot of the women's side of things. You have some, males in your life as well.
Yes.
How have they played a role in your upbringing as well? Like your father and your uncles and your brothers?
I think males are really the action people in my life. Like women can plan and say, do this, but men are really the ones that execute stuff, and men help women a lot. And I really believe in like the family unit and how important it is to have both mother and father and the family unit for children. So that's sort of, I really value the men in my life. My dad himself, I have a brother who has really stepped up to the role of being the elder sibling since I've moved out of home.
Okay.
So I'm really proud of how he's come along, and he's turned out better than I expected.
Oh, that's good.
Better than I expected, but I'm really proud of him and grateful to have strong male leaders, role models, I'll say, in my life. Yeah.
As a young woman, how do you think like men can support women more in today's society?
I think men can support women more in today's society by being very clear with what they want and being a listening ear. A lot of the time we don't want to hear advice, we just need a rant. Just need to let it out to a man.
That's true.
Just to hear, just to be assured that it's getting, like, you understand what I'm saying. Most of the times I don't want advice. I don't want you to tell me, solve my problems, but I know that men are natural, like, problem solvers. Like, they'll come up with a solution naturally if you bring in your rant or like a complaint. But most of the times I just want to let it out. Just be a listening ear. Yeah.
Okay. So better listening.
Okay. Clarity.
Is there somebody in your life, or are you too busy, or what's that like?
Not at the moment. It's not sort of in my focus yet. Taking a break
That's good.
from that. But I'm really grateful for the experiences that I have had with the men that I'm privileged enough to be able to experience as people. And I have a lot to learn from them, and I think everyone does have a lot to learn from each other. And it's really easy to see the negatives in experiences, but there's more good things if you really step away from say a bad experience. But
It's
at
very
the moment
true.
it's goals, and then surely I'm really open to that. That's the ultimate goal. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, colorism is a global issue, but it has a unique nuance in the Pacific. How has your journey as Miss Solomon Islands addressed or been shaped by these challenges, and what message do you have for young women facing similar issues?
I love to talk about colorism.
Okay.
Colorism and micro like aggression towards Melanesian people is quite prominent even in our own country.
Yeah.
Like living away in different community, I experience it, but coming back home, it's the same. It really starts where your own people are, and that's the sad reality. But that's also an opportunity to be able to rise above, challenges and challenges. I say, I do have a lot of personal experiences with colorism in school life, even in my personal life. And it's a lot. It's a lot to process sometimes when people accept certain color, but there's spectrums to it.
Yes.
Like there's an acceptable black. There's an acceptable big size, the same as that.
Yes.
So
very true.
I think my message, my word is, I wouldn't say I have a message, but I'll just assure. I have assurance for girls who are experiencing colorism right now to know that it'll pass, and it's up to them. It's up to how they react to it and how they choose to react to certain challenges that matters. Like pick your battle. Yeah. Pick your battle very carefully. Is that a hill you want to die on or not? So there's always going to be challenges, and there's always going to be issues like colorism. We can't control the bigger picture, but you can only control how you react to it. So think of it as it's a good thing to be different. If you're experiencing colorism, then that means you stand out.
Well,
and that's.
I think we talked earlier about your, that short film that you did.
Yeah.
And for me, that was something quite powerful. In that, if you want to overcome it, or if you want to, I suppose, beat it, then you do think you're a shining example of how to go about it, right? I mean, with Hiama. And how you're able to probably break the stereotypes and all of that. I've experienced a little bit of that myself, and I know what it's like. And I really, really admire your character for that, being able to stand up. But you must have had a bit of that as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up in Australia in the 90s, it was a lot of racism, but it was just that was just the cultural norm.
Yeah.
It was just the cultural norm, and
pick your battles.
You definitely pick your battles.
It does challenge you to pick your battles. Yeah.
And you definitely don't want to be susceptible to their mindset.
No.
And then you play the victim card.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's a really nice point.
Yeah.
I learned something about that from my previous boss. Because I used to work at this kebab shop, and my boss was Turkish.
Shout out to kebabs.
Country kebabs. I worked there for 3 years in my uni days. Wouldn't have it any other way. Lots of challenges there. But one thing I really took from my boss, who was Turkish, and he was also he was of Islam. I would come into work and complain about this girl in my group work. I don't know, is it because I'm black that she doesn't want to work with me? I'm always, I come in with a victim mindset. And he tells me, he's like, Elsie, we have to walk around, our girls walk around with a hijabi. Our girls walk around looking different. They get picked on all the time. Do you really think it's race? Is that all that you haven't? And I really took a step back, and at first I was a bit defensive, are you invalidating my experience? Are you saying that I'm not, my experience is not valid? But no, if you look at it, if you stop putting yourself as a victim, that victim mindset really does change how you interact with your society and how you are in your environment.
Very true.
Yeah.
Because it's always there.
It's always there.
It's whether you want to climb and figure out how to get over it, or you're going to be,
There's many examples on social media with that at the moment.
That's it.
The victim card.
Yeah, and also one thing that ties in with colorism and playing victim is tokenism.
Yes.
That's something I experience in the arts field.
Oh, definitely.
And sometimes hard to discern between a good opportunity and an opportunity that just wants to use you to tick off their
Box.
diverse,
Yes.
yeah, that's something too that I've learned to navigate, because I've had some really good, opportunities to share my story and to share my culture. But then I've also had some where it's a little bit like, I feel like you could have done this without me.
Yes.
What was I doing? I ticked off that diversity box. Yeah.
That is so true. That is so true. And it's like you can see how that has reduced a lot of people. And then they use, because they are empowered with that victimhood, because it's also that DEI checklist box and stuff. So they think that they're on the right path. And then, and they're moving down a wrong path because they're playing a role for somebody else, as opposed to leaning on their own identity and who they are truly. And
like,
so true.
Like you said, the victim mindset really, it changes a lot. You open a lot of doors for yourself once you decide to take off that armor.
Confidence. It's all about confidence. Know yourself and who you are.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is there anything else that you wanted to cover in particular? Any core message blue running lo this one? No good me hola. Steer and go along different.
Core message. I guess I'll just thank everyone for the trust that they've instilled in me since coming into this role. As Miss Solomon, and also as myself as a citizen of the Solomon Islands. I'm very grateful to be able to have this platform, this opportunity, and to talk to people that obviously want the best for our country. So I'm just really grateful at this moment, and want to thank everyone for their support.
Awesome.
And
we wish you all the best.
Yes.
We'll be right behind you. I think the whole country, you've got opportunity to really unite the country.
Yes.
That is so true.
Wish you all the best.
Unity. Thank you so much for having me. I really had fun.
Thank you, Elsie.
Thank you.
Cheers.